Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin' Robbie Billups, and it's time for a top 5 video. Today, top 5 horror movies. That's right everybody, welcome to Robbie's Top 5. I am Robbie, and we're going to be talking about my personal top 5 favorite horror films. I love horror films. I think that it's such a brilliant method of filmmaking because you have to use drama, comedy, atmosphere, music, sound effects, lighting, shading. Every single bit of filmmaking trickery that there is can be utilized in a horror film into something scary. And it is around Halloween time, and so in celebration of said holiday, let's get into my personal top 5 favorite horror films. Now, I will remind you, these are my personal top 5 favorites. You will have a different top 5, and I want to know what your top 5 is in the comments down below. This list has been pretty solid for the majority of my adult life, though it does shift around here and there. At number 5, we have Psycho from 1960, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. I love this film. It's a masterpiece in suspense. Alfred Hitchcock just had an absolute talent at just creating such a pace and a tension in his films, and nothing comes across more clearly in that out of his work than Psycho. Psycho was so brilliant to me. I love the idea that it was shot in black and white, even though he could have shot it at color. It does definitely have an effect on the film, I think, for the positive. I love this film. Janet Leigh's performance, she's great. Anthony Perkins, though, as Norman Bates is definitely a standout to me. A fantastic performance from a fantastic actor. A great, challenging, and daring film, especially of the time, to introduce a main character and then just kill that person off at the end of Act 1. And no, that's not what this story's about at all. It was daring, it was different, and it still holds up today. I still think it's an incredibly paced film. Very well done. At number 4, we have The Bride of Frankenstein from 1935, James Whale's classic sequel to his classic masterpiece Frankenstein. James Whale was doing killer work back in Universal Pictures at the time, especially under the horror branch, with Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, The Old Dark House, and now Bride of Frankenstein. Definitely one of the absolute best sequels of all time, one of the best horror sequels, period. Fantastic work. This movie is actually better than the original in my opinion. It is closer to the book. A brilliant performance again by Karloff as the monster. Colin Clive as Dr. Frankenstein. He's just got such a tragic element about him that comes across in the film. It's amazing. Elsa Lanchester in a dual role as the monster, the bride of the monster, and of course, Mary Shelley. I love the movie. I love how it's crafted. Dr. Pretorius is one of my favorite characters in this film. I love how whimsical it is. I love how tongue-in-cheek. It's a nice satire. It's got a nice snarky attitude about it, but it definitely humanizes the monster in a way that hadn't been done before and really has a lasting impact even today. And in such films like Young Frankenstein is a big tribute, of course, to Bride of Frankenstein, that whole series. I love Universal monster horror films, and Bride of Frankenstein is absolutely one of the best. At number 3, we got Day of the Dead from George A. Romero from 1985. This is definitely my favorite George A. Romero zombie film. I used to love zombie films a whole lot more than I do today. I think that they're kind of a dime a dozen nowadays, but Day of the Dead is one that's always resonated with me, and I love George A. Romero's work. I pretty much love, in some way or another, every single one of those Dead films, but Day of the Dead stands out to me because it's got a killer soundtrack by John Harrison that really captures a tone, a hopeful tone even, but a very ominous tone all at once, and it's very 80s, and I love it. I love the ideas about mistrust of the government. I love the exaggerated performances from the actors, and at the end of the film, when everybody gets theirs, it's one of the most satisfying things ever. Seriously, too, the zombie makeup is some of the best zombie effects and makeup I've ever seen in a film, even today. I love it so much. George A. Romero has done some amazing films, especially his Dead movies, but Day of the Dead just stands above it to me. A great tone, a great dynamic pace, and really, really fun. At number 2, we have Suspiria from 1977 and visionary director Dario Argento. Dario Argento really outdid himself with this film. It's basically a film about a witch coven that actually operates as a dance school as well, and a new student and her experience there, but it's really way more than that. It's a very crazy trippy experience. It's got beautiful textures and colors throughout the whole film. Dario Argento wanted this film to make you feel something. He wanted it to look like something. He didn't really care so much about the script or anything like that. Some of the actors didn't even speak the same language on set at the same time, but it's absolutely a visionary film. It's brilliant, it's beautiful, it's luscious, it makes murder beautiful. I don't know even how to put it, but it's cool. It's got a great subtle supernatural vibe to it, but the music by Goblin enhances it to the next degree, really solidifies it as one of the absolute best horror films ever. Brilliant colors, amazing textures. This movie is just a dreamlike, surreal experience that the more and more I watch it, the more and more I become engrossed with it. Absolutely love it, and I encourage you, if you check it out, to watch it more than once, because it's really on the subsequent viewings that really starts taking a hold inside. At number 1, Dracula, 1931, Todd Browning, Bela Lugosi. I don't think you get any more archetypal or as classic as Dracula from 1931. I love this movie so much. It's probably the horror film that I have watched the most in my life. I'm obsessed with the book. I'm obsessed with the character. I love this movie so much. It's definitely my favorite version of the character, my favorite cinematic version of the character, I should say. I love this film. Todd Browning came from the silent era, so we didn't really have any music that was put into the movie, and to me that really adds this this weight of atmosphere. Seriously, you just hear the film crackle, you just see the silent images, the camera moves it moves so few times, and every time it does, it is accentuated by the silence and tone of the film. I love it. Great performances, David Manners, Edward Van Sloot as Van Helsing. That's my hashtag, my Van Helsing. Absolutely love this film. It set up what horror movies were supposed to be. All the creepy atmosphere, the bats, the cobwebs, the big staircases, the haunted houses, everything like that was set up kind of in this movie, the first talking supernatural horror film, and it holds a special place in my heart. It will always be my favorite horror movie of all time because I just can always go back to it, and I can recite every line in that film. I love it. It's just, I'm obsessed with that Dracula. Seriously, I love Todd Browning. I love Bela Lugosi's performance. It's amazing. It's endearing. It's iconic, and iconic in such a way, just like Karloff did with The Monster of Frankenstein. I'm a huge Universal horror fan. Dracula, to me, I mean, it's just the one that stands out. So that's my top 5 horror films. I really want to know what your top 5 horror films are. Let me know in the comments down below. Hope everybody's having a good October, getting ready for fun Halloween times. Suggest some movies in your top 5s below. We'll check them out, and you guys should check out some of mine. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Join us next time we do a Robbie's Top 5 in 2 weeks, where I will be talking about my top 5 favorite horror comic books of all time. Get you some comic book reading in for Halloween. So thank you guys so much. Please do like, share, and subscribe, and follow us over at the PCP Army on Facebook. Get on Facebook, type in PCP Army, join us. You can interact with me and other members of the excitable PCP crew and our fans and friends and followers and family. So thank you guys so much once again for rocking with us. Keep on top 5ing.